summer sprint playoff game. This is an 18-team league. It's a retro league. It's a draft league. We'll tell you a little bit about how these teams are formulated as we move on. We're going to pick this up basically in the second quarter. We had a little bit of trouble getting through downloading some files for this game, but we are in, and that's what matters. So tonight we have Dunedin taking on Seattle. And Seattle finished tops in the league with I believe, let's take a look here and see. Let me find the stats for this. Well, en route to downloading the correct file, I basically wiped out all the rest of the files, but take my word for it. I think they were 14-3. Dunedin had a very nice year too, as I recall, with either 11 or 12 wins. So we're going to open up some cards here and take a look at this. This is Dunedin with it. 3rd and 19, wow, from their own 30. These two teams play super fast, so unfortunately I've missed the super fast first quarter. But we'll catch up with things here at the half and see how we got to this point. So right now it's tied up 7-all. And after that flat pass picks up a few yards, that's 7 on the play. So now it's 4th and 12 from Dunedin's 37. So that's a nice kick. That'll pin Seattle deep at the 5. All right, so we'll play a little bit of catch-up ball here. And boy, these teams, they coach like really quickly. So there's your lead back, Barry Sanders for Seattle. That under center, that is Dave Craig. And that's Louis Lips from Pittsburgh. And that is Miller. What was Miller's first name? Maybe Andre? Craig on a must run is sacked. It's basically a 0-yard gain. And who makes the recovery? Seattle will hold on to it. So that's a lucky break deep in Seattle's own territory. Well, apparently that was an animation mistake because, yeah, we saw a lot of this. Tom Cook has called a lot of these playoff broadcasts, and your eyes tend to deceive you in this. Unfortunately, that was a sack. That was a sack. It was a must run, which is a 0-yard gain, which basically is a sack. Craig fumbled on the play, and it looked like Seattle had possession, but they didn't. So you look at the animation, and Dunedin catches a huge break, takes over at the Seattle 11 after a 10-yard pickup, and then a 1-yard loss. It's 2nd and 2 on the 2, and there is a touchdown for Lorenzo White. And Dunedin is an extra point away from going up 14-7, and they do so. These two coaches are playing about as fast as I've seen a game. They're like playing speed chess. I have barely even had a chance to catch up with either one of these two clubs. So Seattle with the ball. And again, there's Barry Sanders in the backfield. Anthony Miller. So there you go. I think he was San Diego Charger. There's a pass guessed wrong. It's a pickup of 11 on the play, and that is a first down. That's Keith McKellar. The way we draft, basically you draft by a unit. So you have a quarterback unit, running backs unit. We have a tight end fullback unit, an offensive line unit, and a wide receiver unit. So there's another pass. That's guessed wrong. That's David Craig. We're playing, by the way, with the old rules, so we don't have the dump-off rule in effect here. That was an 11-yard pass completion to Louis Lips. That's his first reception of the game. And Seattle is marching into Dunedin territory. There's a pickup of 6 on another must run. If you look on Dave Craig's card, a 7 must run. It's not a super must run card. And he did fumble on the last possession that led to Dunedin's score. Seattle trying to counter here. Here's a off tackle run to Larry Kinnebrew. The modern game, not really much reason for fullbacks, but back in 1989, you had multiple running backs carrying for these teams, and fullbacks tended to get a lot of carries. And Kinnebrew does have a good card. He was guessed wrong, but he didn't get much of a pickup on that play. There's a 3-yard run for Barry Sanders. You look, guessed wrong, he's got a dangerous card there. Short gains on 4, 7, 9, and 12. And that really nice looking 28 on 10. And of course, a 34 on 2. He does have fumble issues. Here's a pitch out. Rolls a 5, which usually means certain doom, and in this case, it's a stop at the line of scrimmage, no gain. 4:30 to go here in the second quarter. Dunedin up over Seattle, which was the regular season league champion, at 14-3. We are down to the Elite 8 in summer sprint. We've already had 2 playoff games to trim it to 8. Here's a pitch out. But it's on the defensive card, so Barry only picks up 1 on the play. So now it's 3rd and 9, 3:54 on a running clock here in the second quarter. Seattle with it, 3rd and 9. Definitely field goal range, but they'd like to be able to convert this, obviously, and see if they can close this lead. Try to tie it up, maybe. So here's a run to Barry Sanders, and as I like to say in broadcast, that is dancing between the raindrops. You see that 11? That's a pickup of 4. Anything around that would have been a first down. Had he been able to break contain. Raul Alegre puts that one through the pipes, so he cuts the lead to 14-10. So Dunedin has to feel pretty good right now with a lead over the league's top club at 14-3. Dunedin finished the season, I believe, with, I want to say 12 wins. Either 11 wins or 12 wins. There's a pickup of 6 on the play. It's an up the middle run for Robert Del Pino, the fullback for the Los Angeles Rams. And there's a, let's see, that's a flat pass, but it's only a pickup of 2. That'll bring up 3rd down and 2. Brian Fulham is the coach, is the coach of Dunedin. The coach for Seattle is Dennis Crowley. And there's a big stop. Bad break, guessed wrong. You get the dreaded 5. So no gain on the play. Seattle will call timeout. So they will have time to do something here. Again, these punt cards are just pretty mediocre. That's a 44-yard kick. Seattle on the return, no gain. So they have the ball at their 31 with 1:45 to go here in the half, trailing 14-10. Dennis Crowley coaches the Seattle, I want to see if I can get this name right. Shuriken, okay. Seattle Shuriken against the, I believe it's Dunedin Osprey. I assume that's Dunedin, Florida. That's Brian Fullen up against Dennis Crowley. Here's a curl pass to Miller. Defense calls run there. The pass falls incomplete. Defender was able to make the play. All it took was a 4. Well, something to notice here too, without the drop-offs, the dump-off passes, where do you get the offense? Some of these receiver guessed wrong cards have ridiculous readings with long gains. in places that are relatively easy, not your typical 2s and 12s and 3s and 11s. There are long gains that litter these cards. So while it's very enticing to call run against a coach like Dennis Crowley who likes to run, that one time that you go over the top and you get a chunk play makes things kind of difficult. So a minute 15 to go. And there's another pass. And again, defense guesses run again. Very interesting. Pickup of 11 on the play. Dave Craig has a pretty decent, not spectacular, but pretty good guess wrong card. Now it's 1st and 10 on the 47. 52 seconds to go. Seattle still has both of their timeouts as they're trying to. Defense guesses run again. Boy, this is interesting. So that pass falls incomplete. I guess wrong 7. How about that? Quarterback cards not too super strong back in this era, but great running cards, especially when guessed wrong. There are some ridiculous cards in this set, not the least of which Bo Jackson and Neil Anderson. Really some top flight running cards here. And those guys have been able to put out some outstanding numbers this year. We had a 17 game season. And I believe Neil Anderson ran for maybe it was around 2,600 yards. It was quite a number. Seattle has been able to preserve their timeouts on this drive, but they faced 3rd and 7 on that play, and on an off-tackle draw, Barry Sanders picked up only 2. That'll bring up 4th and 5, and Seattle's probably trying to figure out, do I call timeout here? And they do. I'm sorry, they do not. But at the same token, they're going for it here, probably feeling that if they don't make it, there won't be much time for Dunedin with the ball at the 8. Well, the pass falls incomplete, so Seattle says no loss. We'll try for something a little crazy, and they were stopped. Now, Dunedin comes out in a 4-wide set, so it looks like they're going to try to launch a couple of passes downfield and see what happens. Defense counters with 3-3-5. That's a flat pass that goes absolutely nowhere, so that leaves a play 1 second remaining. Will Dunedin take a knee, or they go to launch it for the end zone? Defense again, 3-3-5, 4-wide set. A crossing pattern to Beebe that falls incomplete, and we have made our way to the half. So Dunedin is up 14-10 over the regular season champion Seattle club that is coached by Dennis Crowley. So Brian Fullen has to feel pretty good about himself heading into this second half. Seattle does have the ball. Let's see if we can miss I bet you they'll take maybe a moment or two. So Seattle led off the scoring with a Barry Sanders 7-yard run. That's Don Beebe with an 85-yard. Yep, an 85-yard kickoff return. And we've seen the other 2 scores. That would be Lorenzo White on a 2-yard run, Raul Legre with a 40-yard kick. So we are in good shape here for the second half. So that would be a 3-and-out for Seattle. So Dunedin will go ahead and punt this ball away. Oh, and that's a nice return. That is a super nice return, and he is going to take it to the house. So we've had our second big special teams play of the game. I'm not sure exactly who Brinson is, but Brinson took it to the house. So now Seattle is up 17-14. So that's two special teams. Two special teams return. Seattle chooses in that case to kick a squib kick that goes no place. And after an 18-yard return, Dunedin takes over at the Seattle 49. So that's some curious, interesting strategy. So Dunedin with the ball. I'm a little disjointed on this broadcast. My apologies. I'm still trying to catch up with everything. I haven't even mentioned who is on offense here, but that is the great Hall of Fame quarterback Warren Moon. And in the backfield with him, we see Robert Del Pino and Alan Pinkett. Del Pino from the Rams, Pinkett from the Houston Oilers. That's Vance Johnson on one side. That's Andre Reed on the other. So that's a mixture. Imagine Vance Johnson probably from the punt return team. Andre Reed, the phenomenal receiver from Buffalo. There's a nice pickup. It's a run on the play, and it's a first down for Del Pino. Del Pino has a very nice card as well. Again, some great running cards here. There's a pass that falls incomplete. It was intended for Alan Pinkett, who's been a big-time target, actually, for Warren Moon.